If I could just sing, this would have went into music.
So you would have gone Phil Collins on it?
I would have just been so obnoxious. Can you imagine me? Because I'm such a jackass anyway. If I had like an entertainment status, oh my gosh, no one could stand me.
The drummer has to be the front man too.
Yeah, why in this band is the drummer in the front?
He's got to carry the beat and the...
That's so true. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of For the Love of Dog. I'm Steve McLean, co-founder of The Little Red Dog, and this is Gary Newcomb, our head trainer. Gary, as always, you're looking awesome.
Thank you, man.
How do you do it?
I don't know. It's just luck and good genetics, I guess.
That's right. That's where life is. You know, no matter where you go in life, it's usually, where you started, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it all boils down to.
I think it's true with the dogs too. And not that we meant to go down this path, but just 10 seconds of, I don't think trainers do enough focus on the DNA of the dog, the genetics of the dog.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I've never heard anyone talk about that. They're always, you can teach a dog anything, blah, 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 blah. And that's not necessarily true.
It's, 80% true.
Yeah.
But absolutely. You got to take into account, where it really comes up to me is when I'm talking to people who have working breed dogs.
Yes.
And I have to tell them, look, your dog is a working dog. You cannot treat it like a couch dog or your dog is going to be greatly unsatisfied.
That's true. And that's kind of the other side of the coin. You have to, address dogs. All dogs is the base. They have all this stuff in common.
Yep.
And then talk about breed.
Yep. Stuff inside.
But I really do wish, again, it's almost impossible really, because it's not like you get a history of the dog, what the dog's been good and bad at through its whole life. I think a lot of times people... first of all, owners always think every dog's going to be like Lassie. And they want the perfect relationship. Yes. And that's just not true.
Yep.
Right. And if you want a dog like Lassie, because DNA has to be there.
Yeah, we're gonna even when you clone Lassie, you don't end up with Lassie.
No, exactly. I don't know why we're not going to talk about this. I just thought it was kind of interesting. But anyway, kind of what I want to talk about. We're going to go off. I don't want to say out the rails. It's definitely in line with having a nonprofit. So we're gonna kind of put the dog training over here for just a hot second. We're gonna focus a little bit more on the ins and outs of a nonprofit, and basically the Little Red Dog. That's what we are, and everyone knows that we're a 501c3. We're a nonprofit. The reason why we don't talk about it that much is because in my opinion, it's been our mission to focus more on education, dog behavior, how to be a better dog owner, so not as many dogs will wind up.
Yeah, that's kind of the front of the house of what we do.
Exactly. I like that, front of the house. So the back of the house is, you do have to understand.
It's a lot of business.
Yeah, you have to understand that we are a nonprofit. We live and die by funding the good nature of the public, companies, donations.
And unfortunately, through COVID, there's been a lot that have died.
Yes.
Lack of funding to rescues. It's hard when we don't have, the ability to have our normal events, fundraisers, and that stuff.
Yes. And I don't want to, I promise you, this isn't going to be a plea for money. I'm just trying to tell you, what we really are about. So it really is dog behavior. But at the end of the day, we feel like if we focus on dog behavior and education, less dogs are going to wind up in the shelters, right?
Yep.
But always remember that we are a nonprofit. So all you good people out there, whenever you give $1 to your favorite nonprofit, and by the way, any nonprofit that you give $1 to, I can't argue with you. There's a lot of great causes out there. But like myself and everyone that's watching or involved in the community, as a human being, you always care about where does my dollar go? How does my dollar get broken down? People tend to be a little bit sensitive about administration fees.
Yes.
And they don't like, I tend to argue about that a little bit, but again, that's not what the show's about. What I really want to talk about is kind of a bizarre topic, but I'm setting this up so that everyone understands that there might be a new way.
Things are changing.
Yeah, there might be a new way when you give $1 that you can instantly know and get an actual record of where every penny is going. Can't do that today. You have to take the company's word for it. The more reputable companies will actually upload that information.
Give good reporting.
Yeah, and that is how we get a platinum seal from organizations that rate us, so that you, the public, can feel comfortable with how we're spending our money. However, with cryptocurrency, I know that sounds like I'm totally jumping the shark, but one of the benefits or thoughts of cryptocurrency is it might be possible, it should be possible, that one day, if you give money through a cryptocurrency, you can follow every penny and how that money goes. So if you're not happy with how they're spending their money, you can instantly pull it. And obviously, if as a nonprofit, if we know everyone is really looking at every minute little penny, then they're going to run more efficiently. They're going to focus more on what the public needs. Right?
Transparency forces them to.
Right. Now, Gary and I know nothing about cryptocurrency. I mean, I know a little bit, but not enough to...
I don't have a bit wallet.
Yeah. Yeah. And so where was our...
Yeah, we're lacking sound effects.
Oh, come on, Sam. That was a great one. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, we need a rim shot. Anyway, however, we have someone on the show that is going to school us.
Cool.
Yeah, and he's very into cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
But anyway, I've got Kieran on the line now. Because of where Kieran's at, we weren't able to do video today, so we're just going to do audio. So Kieran, if you can hear me, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic today.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. So we were kind of talking about how cryptocurrency might be able to in the future, as far as funding goes. If I give $1 to my favorite charity, how I can instantly figure out and track where every penny is going. Can you kind of explain that to me and how that might work?
Yeah. So basically, I mean, depending on the way that you go about this, I mean, the core concept of this whole kind of infrastructure is basically a giant public ledger, which is basically just used to keep track of who, has what quantity of, of whatever currency you're talking about. And basically any transaction that is recorded is permanently stored on the blockchain for the most part. I mean, that can vary, I guess, depending on the system you're using, but most of these kind of systems depend on this concept of what's called immutability, which just means as soon as a transaction has kind of occurred, it's forever there.
Okay.
So who would have access to this ledger? Everybody, or just the person who...
Everyone.
Wow.
Everyone in the world has access to it.
Wow.
And it's completely public, and everyone can see it at any point.
That is completely transparent.
That is completely transparent.
Yes.
So in a lot of these political things we're seeing a lot of like shell companies that are happening, so that, the money transfers to one company. Would they be able to find out, trace it through a shell company?
Yeah, you can.
Wow.
There's ways that people, have still kind of, there's still workarounds.
Yeah.
But like for specific currencies, like the biggest guy is Bitcoin.
Sure.
That's the one that everybody knows about for the most part.
Right.
And that guy, basically, it's pretty hard to it's kind of hard to hide. It's really hard to hide like nefarious activity because it's so highly tracked and monitored by so many people.
Interesting.
So what do you?
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say there's a common narrative that exists about the criminality of Bitcoin, about how it's only used for criminal activity.
Yeah, buying drugs online from Canada.
Yeah,
right.
That could not be further from the truth. That is literally like the
opposite.
Like, yeah, it's literally the like, what's more anonymous than handing someone cash?
Yeah,
right.
Nothing.
Right. Yeah, right.
In a back alley in a white van.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine. Go ahead. Try and trace that.
Yeah.
Like in this, you have a digital record of every single transaction that's ever been made.
Wow.
Like what? How have people managed to convince the general public that is less anonymous?
Well, because I can tell you right away, it's people. I don't want to get political, but I mean, if I'm trying to sell someone on something, and I'm a good salesman, and I say things that aren't true, but I sell it so well.
Oh yeah, creating a narrative. So it's the way to be now.
Absolutely. So you can now you totally see why people are saying Bitcoin it's not a good deal, because they want to lie.
Yeah.
Dude, this is one of my favorite quotes. It's the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing people he didn't exist.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, that's true. No, that's really true. We've talked about this before. It's going to kind of take away that power. We've talked about it on the show that even human beings can easily be fooled when they think an expert is talking, right? Mm-hmm. There's been a lot of studies on this. Even apes, you can't do that to.
Yeah.
You can't fool an ape. Just
dogs see through bullshit.
The dogs and animals, yeah. So I love this. This is so interesting that basically what we're trying to do with this technology is not only just make it a currency, but also on top of that, and I didn't know this, on top of that, we're trying to make it as transparent, 100% transparency. Yeah. I did not know that.
Legitimize money.
Yeah. Well, you can see why companies don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Oh, a lot of them. See, that's the thing. It's so funny because like the whole purpose of this is egalitarian, like inclusivity, like everyone can get involved, everyone can valid, it's like, and yet the narrative that you hear is just so the opposite, because for the longest time people have just been trying to suppress this stuff, right? Because a lot of people realize the potential. Well, too, Kieran, you weren't able to hear the beginning of the show, but what I was trying to say to people, and I know you can relate to this, whenever you give $1 to a nonprofit, you're always kind of worried, well, what the hell are they using that dollar for? I don't want to give my dollar and 100% of my dollars going to the CFO, right? So, and we're always trying to do our best to do our job, our due diligence, and post our tax returns, all this stuff online. But even then, I mean, stuff can be manipulated, right? But but with any good crypto or technology, there's always people out there willing to try to hack it. Is that? Oh yeah. So I mean, that's going to be the next crime, right? Is trying. Oh, that's already going on right now. Is that right? How so? How's that happening? So the main way that it occurs is through, like phishing campaigns. Okay. That's usually the way that gets a huge majority of people. Right. Like basically social hacking, where they'll send you an email that looks like it's from a valid source, and then you log in, and little did you know that was just a fake shell site that they basically was made to look exactly like the site that you thought it was, and now they have your password. I gotcha. And it's actually a lot more common than a lot of people would think. Right. It's pretty easy to copy the interface of a site, right, and make it look exactly like it. Right. That's true. And so that there's that method, but it's even like some people even just give away their password straight through the email. Like it's like there's most of the time so Bitcoin itself, the technology that defines this stuff, right, is pretty sound. There's nothing. It hasn't been hacked yet, really, and that's with tons of people trying to hack it. Right. There are ways of exploiting it. Okay. In certain contexts, you can slowly drip out money from different contexts. But then usually what happens in those situations is it'll be discovered and then they'll fix it. It's part of the process that the community's kind of undergoing in terms of kind of, just figuring shit out.
Right.
So there is some volatility just in that basis, as well as there's a lot of people who own a bunch of it who are just looking to take profit, and they know if they can just sell a bunch, then it'll affect the price such that they'll be able to buy it low again very easily.
Sure.
But here's the picture that I generally look at, is just the general trend and the general goals and ideals of the projects themselves are about unifying people and connecting them in ways that has previously been completely centralized, controlled by, banks or, just huge corporations. Right. And that's completely unnecessary now.
Right. Well, Kieran, let me ask you one last question before we have to go. Let's say the little red dog wants to one day get involved in this type of technology. When do you see it kind of coming to fruition where we offer that? Like, hey, if you want to give us, whatever's equivalent to $50.
What's it take to implement that?
Yeah, like what does it take to implement it? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, you could have it implemented in seconds. You could have it literally right now.
Oh, really? I mean, it exists right now?
Buy a wallet and just have people start dropping?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Like literally right within 5 minutes, you could probably have a wallet going and have like wallet addresses linked to your site. I would say so 5 minutes.
Okay, so I'm wrong. I do have one more question. Sam and I, your best buddy Sam, were talking yesterday about this because we knew we were going to be on the show. So my analogy, and now I'm learning why it's not really the correct analogy. In the 13th, 14th century, where the Dutch were all about trading tulips as a form of currency, it's whatever you can convince a crowd of people to use as currency, right? Well, obviously, it's not just tulips. This actually has technology in it where you can trace
where benefits beyond the dollar.
So I got kind of schooled on that. I just thought, to me, it was just another currency, but it's actually much more than that.
Oh, it's way beyond that. It's like the thing that's so incredible about this is going to completely take over everything. It's I mean, that's coming from me, obviously, but the thing is, all of this stuff is going to be starting to be like, everything is going to be written like this, because as soon as it is, everything will be interoperable. So like, you'll be able to like basically make a donation to Little Red Dog, and you could be in China and you don't have any like currency, but what you do have is this token that you have through this other site, and you can basically donate, and it'll do all the transactions necessary to convert between whatever they have. Maybe they have a farm where they sell like organic eggs to like a small market, and there's a system set up to where they could get tokens paid out for this. It's like a global organic, vegan egg farmers or whatever.
Go ahead. Sorry. I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
Oh, so basically, and then they would be able to get these tokens for exchanging their eggs, and then use those tokens then to distribute and make a donation to Little Red Dog. And there, no cash is exchanged, no central authority, like, and you guys are getting what you need. They're getting, what they need.
Right.
And yes, it's a beautiful system.
Well, I'm so glad you explained it that way, because let's say someone did want to give you 2 eggs or a chicken in their world to help you out. So you actually have the equivalent in their world, what would be equivalent to our world. That's so
exactly.
Cool. That's so cool. I had no idea. Well, why do you think? Are we just scared of this technology, Kieran? Why is no one making this more clear?
For me personally, I think that there's a hurdle. When I see cryptocurrency, I see multimillionaires, buying NFT art with it and, doing things that I don't relate to. I don't see where there's a normal person buying into
That's
that.
a good question. So is that possible, Kieran? Like, I'm average Joe Blow. Yeah. How do I get involved?
Yeah. So literally, I would say that the biggest detractor from all of this stuff is just fear.
Sure.
Because like literally it's like once you start using it, it all becomes a lot clearer. But you can basically download like a wallet through the App Store,
Right.
and probably like for bigger amounts, if you'd want to buy bigger amounts, then you'd probably have to go through full verification.
Sure.
But if you just want to get like less than like $500, you can buy it on a credit card almost instantly.
Okay, just get your feet wet. Well, I can't. I don't really follow football anymore. I can't really remember what was the one football player that part of his. He just signed a contract about 3 or 4 months ago, and he asked 90% of his salary was in Bitcoin. Do you remember who it was? I thought that was crazy. Now that to me was the first. Now he's in a totally different world than we're in, but he was the first in my world that I've read where it seemed a little bit more possible. Do you know what I mean? It was a little bit more relatable. Even though I'm not an amazing athlete and I don't make that kind of money, at least it was kind of in our world, right? Because before that, it was all about stockbrokers, people that want to invest. That's kind of how I saw it, right?
Yeah.
I didn't really see it as something that I would
something a normal guy can go and drop a couple $100 and end up, because
I don't want to be mining for money.
The value of a Bitcoin is pretty high, right?
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's meant to be like some of these are, it's hard to talk in generality sometimes because there's so many and there's so much variance. But for the most part, like the whole idea is about people. You know what I mean? It's about people being able to exchange with other people, essentially.
Yeah, no, I did not understand that until you explained it to me.
Yeah, it's dropping all the barriers and still,
it really is. It's
the ability to keep an eye on what the people are doing with your money.
It's actually a very soulful concept.
Yeah.
And to me, it doesn't come across as soulful. It comes across as this is way beyond your reach.
Unapproachable.
This is unapproachable. There's no way you're ever going to get there.
Yep, that's the narrative they want to push.
Gotcha.
Because here's the thing. It's as you start to discover more and more about this, you'll realize that there's almost nothing that isn't better about it. Like,
I agree.
Literally,
I'm sold.
The way that you can exchange money is literally like all I need to do is like take a picture of a QR code. Like, I don't even need to,
right. Like, that's it. You're done. Yeah.
That's it.
Well, Kieran, we're going to open up a wallet, Little Red Dog, this afternoon. How much can I put you down for?
Oh my gosh. Dude, you can put me down for future crypto help. I'll be a guide and aid.
All right.
Oh, I was gonna make a donation, but I got locked out of my crypto wallet. There's like 7,000 coins in there.
All right, Kieran. Hey, it's been a joy. Really, very educational.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for coming on our show. Hopefully, we'll get to meet physically and have a great rest of your week. Okay?
Of course. You too,
buddy.
dude.
Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Later.
Hey everybody, I'm Steve with the Little Red Dog. Thanks so much for listening for the Love of Dog podcast. Please subscribe. If you're listening, please rate us and let us know if we're doing horribly or awesome. We need that feedback. Also, when you do subscribe to YouTube, you'll get an alert for our virtual adoption events. We need your input. We need you to watch and support our cause. Thank you so much. We're on a mission from Dog. Take care, everybody. Nice hands. Potatoes. Hey, welcome back, everybody. This is another edition of For the Love of Dog. I have PJ in studio. PJ, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm good. I'm good. Got a little pep. A little energy drink, feel better. All right, cool. Nice. So what
are we talking about today, Steve?
Well, I kind of wanted to ask your advice and your opinion on this. We've kind of talked about it a little bit. We've ran into this situation a little bit over the 10-year period that we've been doing this, but this year in 2020 for sure, we're getting a lot more of this where people are used to, purchasing a dog through a breeder or a pet store. and they're used to that. You know, hey, I want this, I want it now. And so now they're trying to do the right thing, and they're trying to adopt, right? And depending on what rescue group you work for, it's a different set of questions, or there's these hurdles. Yeah, these hurdles, interviews you have to jump through. I get it. I can understand. I can definitely empathize with someone that's used to wanting this, throw some money and getting it, and then all of a sudden now there's this process, and they're complaining, and sometimes they find that the process so frustrating they just say, forget it, I'm just going to go purchase a dog the old way. Or they'll get to the interview process and they'll get turned down, and then now they're really upset. And again, I understand. My question, my topic is, speaking for myself, I tend to just, when that happens to me, I just tend to say, you know what, we tried, it didn't work out, and I just kind of let it go. I don't see the point of going back to that family and trying to convince them that they're going down the right path. Please don't get frustrated. There's other ways that you might be able to get adopted.
Yeah.
Get a dog adopted. I mean, I kind of want to ask your opinion. I know you tend to want to stay in the game, meaning when you see an application that to me should be denied immediately, you are always willing to give that person more of a chance. I just kind of want to get your opinion. What do you think? Because I know it's happened to you. Mm-hmm. What is your feeling? Do you feel like we're giving up too easy? What do you think?
So it's a loaded question, and I think it's a little broader than the question you're posing. The issue is, yeah, of course, it's so nice that people are thinking, I bought a dog before. I didn't. Most of them don't know that how bad that is,
right,
for the dog population in general.
Right.
So in their minds, I bought a dog. I've had a dog. I was a good dog owner. My dog just died at 12 or 16, whatever it is. And now I want another dog, and I want to do the right thing. Or they still have the dog and they want another dog, but they're trying to do the right thing.
Right.
The issue comes in where it's not just about purchasing, because yeah, if you go to a breeder, I'm sorry, I've never bought a dog, so I may be speaking out of turn, but the way it looks to me is I go to a breeder, and if I have $5,000, I can have the dog.
Yeah.
They're not going to do any background checks. They're not going to ask me any questions. I may have to sign a contract, because we have heard that sometimes they'll say you can't neuter the dog or whatever, but it doesn't seem like there's a lot of, steps.
Oops. Yeah.
And that is the good and the bad of rescue, right? The problem is because a lot of people have bought that dog initially, and then we rescued that dog because they didn't want it anymore.
Right.
And we've taken it out of the shelter. We've had 30% of all the dogs in the shelter are purebred, right? So they came from a breeder,
right,
for the most part. Mm-hmm. Some kind of a breeder, whether it's the quote unquote reputable breeder or a backyard breeder, they pet store, they got puppy mill, they got it from somewhere like that. Mm-hmm. And so we see that. So what we know is not everybody is going to be a good dog owner. And there's certain things we've talked ad nauseum about that we look for. So it's a tough thing, because I know this person's trying in their mind and their hearts to do the right thing, but we know they absolutely shouldn't have another dog, or they shouldn't have this dog that they want.
Right.
And, I had somebody this week told me that I was condescending in my interview. And so now I have changed my script, because I start out and I always say, we focus on dog behavior. And now I say, this is not meant to be condescending or judgmental. I'm just trying to impart some knowledge, because what we found is if we impart this knowledge, that people are more apt to keeping their dogs, right? Mm-hmm. So I think it's really a tough thing, because I have turned down people, and I know full well that I did the right thing to turn them down, mm-hmm, and I know that they're going to go buy a dog. Mm-hmm. And, maybe that'll work out, and maybe down the road I'm going to have to rescue that dog. But so it's like, what do I give them my dog and have to rescue that back, or
right,
do I wait for them to buy a dog and then rescue that? It's a tough thing. It's a fine line to walk. And most people, I don't like generalizations, but I'm going to use one. Most people who are buying dogs, who are used to getting what they want because
right,
they just can write the check,
right,
don't want to listen to the education.
No.
And again, this is not a 60, hour course. It's like a 30-minute interview. I just want to give you might spend another 30, 45 minutes with us when you meet the dog to get kind of get that learning again, right? Because we always say we have to tell people things multiple times. So really, all in all, it's not a long process, but people are, we live in an Amazon Prime world. People want their shit in 2 hours. Right. And if you have to get on a call and then get on a purebred, a PB interview, and then do a meet and greet, it's, Right. Yes, it's hoops, but for us, it means that you're serious and that you're willing to make this work and you're going to listen and you're going to do the work.
Right.
And a lot of people who are buying dogs, I don't get that. I don't usually get that same attention span.
No.
They're usually I can just go buy a dog. So.
No, I mean, let's say that we've adopted, or we've had, just for the sake of argument, let's say over the past 10 years, we've received, let's say 3,000 applications where the person had previously in their history purchased a dog. Just quickly, let's say it's 5,000 applications. I would say 4,500 of those out of the 5,000 is in this pocket that we're talking about. Right.
5,000 or 3,000?
Sorry, let's say 5,000. Sorry. Okay. So 5,000 applications.
And 4,500 of those 3,000. I'm just kidding.
It's
fuzzy math.
What president was it?
Fuzzy math.
That was talking about percentages, and they go, this 50% this, 50% this, and 50% that. And okay, that's 100%. Sorry, I got confused. So 5,000. Okay, so 5,000.
Yes.
Okay. I would say only 500 of the 5,000 are going to hang with us.
Yeah.
I would think that's a fair statement.
I mean,
and the other 4,500 are completely put off by our style.
Yeah.
They don't want anything else to do with us. And they're offended even.
Yeah.
They're even if they're offended.
Yep.
That happened to me on the last Zoom call, the last video of Power Breed, PB interview, where the woman was like, I don't understand why I have to go through this. And I don't want to do this. Well, then I guess you can't get a dog from us.
Yeah.
And what I've always tried to tell people, that it's not so much judgmental. It is judgmental in a sense, but really in my mind, I feel like we're trying to keep you out of the ER. We're trying to keep you from acquiring animal control, a lot of vet bills, lawsuits. And that's what people don't understand, that breeders don't give a rat's ass if you have a pulse. You're gonna get a dog, and if you're willing to pay the price.
Right.
And I admit that in, like you said, Amazon world, I get that. But though I get it, to me, that's not the right person that should have a dog. A dog is not a cool sports car. It's not a cool piece of tech. It's a soul.
Well, that's the problem, because people do have that mindset about Amazon Prime, 2 hours or 2 days, whatever. And this is a living, breathing, sentient being. This is something that requires and wants attention, love, food, training, structure, all of the things we talk about. And so, you don't want to. And it's funny. I talked to a young couple yesterday, and they were interested in moose. And I asked him, what's wrong? He goes, I'm nervous, but excited. And I said, okay, talk to me about being nervous. And he goes, well, this is just a big decision, and I don't want to take it lightly. And I appreciate that.
We want to hear that.
100%. I don't want it that, when we used to do in-person events at PetSmart, how many people would just happen to be going there to buy fish food, and they see the puppies, and oh my God, they just had to have a puppy that day.
Right. And we have to be careful in that situation that we don't adopt as someone that's a snap decision. And that's another reason why I love the adoption events the way we're doing them now, because we've taken that out.
We have.
And I think that's a big reason why we fail, to be honest with you.
Maybe. I mean, it's good and bad. It's good to have that foot traffic. We certainly have gotten more donations in that way. We certainly have found some great adopters who maybe were thinking about it, just didn't really think about it, but then came. We've certainly adopted dogs that were more difficult because they got to see them in person, and maybe they don't photograph well or something.
That's a good point.
So there's good and bad about it. I think, just, again, I like getting things immediately. Sometimes I'm like, wow, I ordered this from Etsy. Why didn't it come? And I'm like, okay, it's not Amazon, PJ. These are small people, and they're going to get it to me and I don't need it. I'm not dying. It's not like a lung or anything. So, I think, I think that's the thing. And and we do have to be careful. And that's why that's why I've changed my little script. I don't want people to think that we're being condescending. I don't want people to think that I'm talking down to them. But also when I'm sitting there talking to you, and your kids are running around and they're crazy and rude, and your dog is not, you're not paying attention, or your dog is, doing something.
Right.
I mean, I can't or when you tell me that you walk your dog, your young, energetic dog, twice a week, I can't in good conscience adopt a dog to you, because I know you're not going to change. And that's one of the reasons why, and we've talked about this, I actually personally like people who don't have a ton of experience with dogs.
Yes, they
because they're
listen.
more apt to listen.
No, I agree.
And want to learn. Where it's, my analogy is, if you've ever learned something wrong, but it's working, it's so hard to unlearn that.
Right.
And that's a lot of times what we're dealing with.
Well, I mean, right before we wrap up, the only thing I wanted to mention, because both of us definitely have the propensity to be condescending.
100%.
We are both quick-tempered. We're both a little bit of a hothead.
Yes. More than a little.
But in our defense, we never start there.
No.
That condescending tone and theme only comes out when it's the energy that the family's giving on us.
Right. It's reciprocal for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not ever going to start from a place of rudeness.
No.
But I have a hard time not going there if they're shitty.
But I do think, I will say this about both of us. I think, it's been 10 years, almost 10 years.
Yeah.
I think we are way better than we used to.
Yeah,
We're
for
so
sure.
much better than we used to be.
Yeah.
I try every day.
Yeah.
But if you come at me hard and you piss me off, you're going to have the wrath.
Well, and sometimes people don't realize they're being rude. I mean, if you're trying to get information and go through an interview and they're eating their lunch, or the kids are being
that doesn't
wild
bother
Indians.
me. But I hear the kids bother me.
Yeah.
Because I'm always like, if you don't have control of that, how are you going to have control of your dog?
And to me, in my tiny brain, I want you to treat this like a job interview. Are you going to eat your lunch during a Zoom call on an interview? No, you're not. Are you going to have your kids running around? No, you're not. That's how I want you to treat it. And that, to me, it's just as important, if not more so.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that the gravity is there for sure. And the lunch, I mean, I prefer you don't eat lunch in our interview, but honestly, if that's the only 30 minutes that you had.
Well, then tell me. Say, I'm so sorry.
Yes.
This is very rude
because
of me. I haven't eaten a day.
People are juggling.
Then I will be totally sympathetic.
But people are juggling a lot right now.
I just threw that.
I understand. I'm just saying, yes.
Doesn't happen often.
It doesn't happen often, but but we won't come out of you hot. I usually try to be,
I always try to start off making them laugh.
Yes.
I always try to start making them laugh. And I will admit, if I can't make you laugh in the first 30 seconds, and I know I'm damn funny, then I might be a little put offish. Maybe. Yeah. Well, anyway, I think that's important information. I think that I don't feel as bad now, really, maybe to say there's something I can do here. Maybe in the future, when we have more time, more assets, we can think of a way to approach this problem better, because we want this type of family not to go to breeders.
We want no one to go to a breeder.
Right.
You know what? If anybody has any ideas about how we can handle that,
flip them over here.
We're DM Mackenzie or do info@thelittlereddog.org. We're all ears. We are always trying to be better. It may not always seem like it, but we are. Right. So thanks for listening. Yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. This has been another edition of For the Love of Dog. This is Stephen PJ wishing you a great week. Please subscribe, download, volunteer, donate, do something. We need your help. Take care, everybody. We are on a mission from dog.